Come on, wait, move. Let her hair go.
She had just finished a 16-hour shift. Most people would have gone straight home, kicked off their shoes, and called it a night. Asia didn't. Someone she loved needed her. And that loyalty is what got her killed. She was 26 years old, a mother of 4, and she never made it back home. Asia Monet Stewart grew up in Houston, Texas, a city known for its size, its culture, its people, but also a city where disputes can go from 0 to deadly in seconds flat. Asia knew this city. She was shaped by it, but if you knew Asia personally, danger is probably the last word that comes to mind. By every account from the people who loved her, she was the life of the room, the one who made people laugh, who kept the energy up, who made everyone around her feel seen. She posted fun videos online just because she could. She had a personality that pulled people in, and she had 4 kids, ages 11, 8, 6, and 3, 4 little people whose whole world she was. Girl, this woman was out here working 16-hour shifts and still showing up for the people she loved. Like, let that sink in. Now, the night this happened didn't come out of nowhere. There had been a dispute going on among a group of women for several days leading up to this, starting around early February. We're not talking about one bad moment. This tension had been building back and forth for days. On the night of February 8th, things came to a head. A physical fight broke out at the Wesley Square Apartments on Calhoun Road in the Sunnyside area of southeast Houston, and Asia was not part of that original dispute, not even close. Her sister was involved, and when Asia got the call, or found out, she came. Anyways, here's where it gets complicated, because depending on who you ask, you'll get a different story about why Asia stepped in. Some people said she jumped in because her side was losing. Others, including witnesses whose accounts ended up in police documents, said she was there to de-escalate, to pull her sister out of it, to talk it down. Her father, Carlton Stewart, was crystal clear about this in every interview he gave. He said Asia came out of love for her sister. Not to fight, not to make it worse, to fix it. And you know what? She had just worked 16 hours before any of this, a security guard shift. She was tired. She wasn't out looking for problems. Make it make sense. So here's what the court documents and witnesses say happened that night in that parking lot. The fight is going. People are in it. Asia steps in, trying to get between people, trying to slow things down. That's when she crosses paths with 25-year-old Daja Wilmore. Before anything physical happened between them, witnesses say Wilmore made herself very clear. She allegedly called out, "If you touch my friend, I'll shoot you," directed at another woman in the crowd. That warning was out there, hanging in the air. Then things moved fast. Wilmore shoved Asia. Asia swung back, and then close range. Wilmore pulled out a handgun and fired. Asia was struck in the abdomen multiple times. The people around her panicked. Someone grabbed her, rushed her into a private car, and drove her to Ben Taub Hospital. They were moving fast, trying to beat the clock. It wasn't enough. Asia Stewart was pronounced dead shortly after arriving at the hospital. Daja Wilmore fled the scene, just gone. And somewhere across Houston, 4 kids were about to find out their mother wasn't coming home. Daja Wilmore was gone. No arrest, no accountability, just a warrant sitting out there with her name on it. And while law enforcement was working to track her down, Asia's father, Carlton Stewart, was already speaking, publicly, loudly, and with a kind of raw honesty that most people aren't built for in that kind of pain. He didn't go online to rage, he didn't call for revenge, he went on social media and said something that stopped a lot of people mid-scroll. He posted that he had just spoken to the detective, that Wilmore was not yet in custody, but that a murder warrant had been issued, and then, instead of cursing her out, instead of going to that place most grieving parents go, he said he wasn't mad at her. Hurt? Yes. Broken? Absolutely. But not filled with hate. He wrote that he understood that in certain moments people don't think, that the moment happened, that Asia couldn't be brought back, and that the bullet couldn't be taken back either, but that accountability had to be had. And then he said something that hit differently than anything else in this whole story. He said, "We didn't lose just Asia today. We also lost the girl that killed Asia as well. 2 black mothers gone. Let me tell you something. It takes a certain kind of person to stand in the middle of their own grief and still have enough room in their chest to acknowledge someone else's loss. Carlton Stewart is that kind of person. He went on camera too, standing at the memorial that had grown at the very spot where his daughter was shot. Balloons, flowers, people who loved Asia gathered around. And Carlton spoke.
I'm not going to say it's a good morning because it's not a good morning. I'm heartbroken. My heart has been ripped from my chest. But the incident surrounding my daughter, Asia Stewart, and her dying. I hear a lot of stories. Most are not true. Most have been twisted. But again, those are stories. Stories are made to be twisted and fabricated to whatever the person that's telling it is telling it. That's how they're telling it. I get that. But my biggest question to everybody is, and this is something that stemmed from Asia's whole family. How do y'all expect kids to have conflict resolution when they grow up and see their parents not being able to have conflict resolution or problem solving or be in situations and know how to go about handling a situation properly? How do we expect for these kids to handle situations and know how to maneuver in certain rooms and certain things when most of y'all don't know how to do it? Answer that for me. If you're my friend and you're on this Facebook and you see this post, answer that for me. But at the same time, share this. This needs to be put out there because a lot of these kids are moving with no knowledge of nothing. They've seen their mamas scream at the top of their voice or yell at them. They've seen their daddy yell at the top of their voice. They've seen things that they should have seen and heard things that they shouldn't have heard. It wasn't taught things that they need to have been taught. So naturally they grab and they just do what they do without knowing the consequences, without knowing how to problem solve or conflict resolution. Because this problem that took place, this instance that took place could have easily been solved. We had adults out there in my age group that sit there and was going to watch kids fight. I see it so much on so many times on so many social media platforms where when a fight break out, adults, grown adults, run to the fight. They don't run to the fight to break it up. They don't run to the fight to say y'all wrong. They run to the fight to watch, the fight to record, the fight to record, and then hear everybody go crying when somebody die. We praise John with the gun. We praise such and such, whatever girl. I'm not going to call the girl that killed my baby name out. I'm going to give her family grace, even though she didn't give mine grace. We praise them or they kill us. We didn't just lose Asia today. We lost this little girl too. Her mama lost a child. That little girl baby finna lose a mama. This shit run deep. We don't need the KKK no more. We killing ourselves. We killing ourselves, some motherfucker. We would be extinct pretty soon, black people. And we wonder why we so low on the totem pole. Y'all think y'all really out here popping y'all shit with y'all designer this, designer that, and this and that, that and this. When in actuality as a whole, we are fucking poor mentally and fucking emotionally. How can we're not rearing up these children right. I stayed on mine. Asia went over there to Wesley Square, but you better know in the back of Asia's mind, my motherfucking voice was in her motherfucking ear telling her to stop running over there to Wesley Square. But at the same time, I understand the love my child had for her sister took her over there. And I'm not mad at Brittany. I'm not mad at the girl that killed my baby. I'm not mad at the person that called my baby over there. I'm not mad. I'm hurt from every single soul that was in Wesley Square, that was in that circle. I'm mad. I'm hurt because this could have worked out a better way. And if you know me, you know I never stood on the side of motherfucking wrong. When Asia was wrong, she was wrong. When she was right. I didn't give a fuck. And to the people that was out there, i.e. her sister, her cousins, they know me. They know my heart. And they know what I stood for. And I definitely didn't stand for this because had I been out there, it wouldn't have been no fighting. I would have whipped Asia's ass. I would have broke Asia's motherfucking jaw. I would have broke Brittany's jaw. I would have broke Misha's jaw. Mine, I would have been kicking ass. I wish the fuck y'all would be out here fighting. Y'all better get the motherfucking this truck. And anybody know me know I'm not telling no lies. I would have kicked some ass out there. it wouldn't have been no motherfucking fighting. I'm that grown up that don't play that shit. But y'all ask that y'allself that. How can these kids be successful and be able to solve problems and not reach for a gun and not want to throw fists and beat on their fellow sister and brother when they've never been taught these things? They've never seen these things.
He talked about all the stories circulating online, how things were being twisted, exaggerated, reshaped into whatever people needed them to be. And he wasn't interested in any of it. What he kept coming back to was a bigger question, a community question. He wanted to know how people expected kids to know conflict resolution when the adults around them never modeled it. He pointed out directly that grown people ran to that fight that night, not to break it up, not to step in, to watch, to record, to post, and that hit. Because Asia didn't die in the dark with no witnesses. There were people there, adults, and the phones came out before anybody tried to stop what was happening. He also addressed something important in that interview that cleared a lot of the noise up. When asked about Asia's role that night, he was straight about it.
And it's days of fighting. What were they fighting about?
That I don't know. It doesn't, to me it doesn't matter because I don't get in kids' business. I try to stay out of that. He say, she say.
Yeah.
Because I've always held mine accountable.
Your daughter knew better, she was doing what you taught her at the moment, which was trying to dissolve everything.
Yeah, I definitely taught her conflict resolution, definitely. I'm big on conflict resolution, and I preach to Asia all the time about talking. Stop, think, then go with what you need to do. I know in my heart of hearts that even though she came to help her sister and talk to get the situation resolved, her mind, my voice was there telling her she needed to be home. But for the love of her sister, love of her sibling, which everybody's guilty of that, she came.
Sure.
She came, but she didn't come with no violence. Asia had worked a 16-hour shift previous to coming over here.
The woman who's in jail now, that's facing a serious charge, a life-changing charge.
Very serious charge. And
you got something to say to her?
Yes, young lady, I'm not mad at you. Again, I'm more hurt at you. I'm more hurt at Asia. I'm hurt at everyone that was out there. And I'm hurt at you because you took a life. I expect for you to hold accountability, and I'm going to hold you to the highest standard of accountability.
That kind of statement from a grieving father in front of cameras the day after his daughter's death, that's not something you forget easily. Now, there was also some social media drama swirling around all of this. Somebody online named Ivy was apparently saying things about Asia after her death, making noise, seeking attention. Carlton addressed it briefly. He told Asia's community not to engage, not to go to her page, not to give her the reaction she was clearly looking for. He said the best thing anyone could do for Asia was block Ivy and keep moving, that Ivy needed help, mental help, and feeding into it wasn't honoring Asia's memory.
Good morning, y'all. Do not let Ivy claim victory over y'all this morning. Ivy needs attention. She's always needed attention, and you all have always given her attention. That baby has a mental illness, understand that. And she feeds off of the internet. The best thing y'all can do for Ivy and the best thing y'all can do for Asia is block Ivy on social media, because everything she does is for social media. I don't want nobody hitting Ivy. I don't want nobody putting their hands on Ivy in the sake of my child. If y'all want to honor Asia, block Ivy. Move on. Don't let nobody win over y'all mental, over y'all emotions. Don't, because y'all hitting her, y'all going to her page and looking at whatever she said about Asia. If you knew Asia, you knew Asia, you knew what it was. So it shouldn't be something that somebody can post that can trigger y'all. I'm not triggered by whatever the fuck she said. Nor have I even looked at what she said, because I know my child. You understand me? So do me this favor and do Asia this favor, this service. And do Ivy this service, because that baby needs help. She needs mental help. Block her so she gets to a point where she has to really sit down and self-reflect. Look at herself from the inside out. Because the tongue is mighty. So do me that favor and do my child that favor in that service. and look at yourself and do not let this child, Ivy, win favor on you by making you angry this morning, by touching something in you that you don't want touched, which is your heart, your soul, your spirit. She's looking for attention, and we're not going to give her attention. We're going to remove her off of social media the right way. We're going to force her to get help because she needs help. Because if you know, you know, Asia was loved. She was loved by y'all. She was loved by me, her daddy. And those are things that Ivy never experienced probably. Ivy never had a mama that loved her the way Yolanda loved Asia. Ivy never had a daddy that loved her the way I loved Asia, or poured into her the way I poured into Asia. Because if you know Asia and you know me, Asia was poured into. Asia was built up. She was reared up. And that's why she was the child she was. So we're not going to yell at Ivy. We're not going to even go to her video. We're just going to delete Ivy, and we're going to let Ivy deal with her mental issues and hopefully get the mental help she needs.
Anyways, that situation wasn't the story. Carlton made sure it stayed in its lane, and so will we. 3 days after Asia was shot dead in that parking lot, Dacia Wilmore was taken into custody. She was arrested and charged with murder, booked into Harris County Jail. Her case was filed in the 178th Criminal District Court. And just like that, the woman who had been a name on a warrant became a defendant facing a charge that could change the entire rest of her life. But hey, the arrest didn't bring Asia back. It didn't put her kid's mother back in the house. It didn't undo a single second of what happened in that parking lot. It just meant that now there would be a courtroom, a process, a chance, maybe, at something that looks like justice. When Dacia Wilmore walked into that courtroom, the charge on the table was murder, not manslaughter, not aggravated assault, murder. And that framing matters, because from the jump, prosecutors weren't treating this like a gray area. They weren't looking at this and seeing a woman who feared for her life. They were looking at someone who pulled a gun during a fistfight and fired at close range into another person's body. Now, people online had opinions, true, because of course they did. Some felt that Wilmore had a right to defend herself, that Asia jumped into a fight that wasn't hers, and that when you jump in, you accept the risk. That's one side. The other side, backed by witness accounts, court documents, and the police affidavit, says Asia was not there to fight. She was trying to pull people apart. And that even if she swung after being shoved, a swing during a fist fight does not justify a bullet at close range. Oh, so now a shove and a swing is a reason to draw a weapon on somebody? In Texas, deadly force is only legally justified when there is a reasonable belief of serious harm or death. The question the court has to answer is, was Dacia Wilmore in that kind of danger? Or did she escalate a fist fight into a killing? That's not for us to decide. That's what the courts are for. But based on what's been reported, the warning she called out before anything physical even happened between them, the fact that she was armed and chose to use that weapon, it does not look like a clean self-defense case, not even close. Asia Stewart left behind 4 children, 11, 8, 6, and 3 years old. 4 kids who are going to grow up trying to understand why their mother didn't come home from a parking lot one February night. 4 kids who deserved more time with her, who deserved to see her grow old, who deserved a lot of things they're never going to get now. And her dad, Carlton Hioane, he said it best. He said they didn't just lose Asia that night, they lost Dacia Wilmore too, because the girl who walked into that parking lot free is never walking out of this the same way. Her child lost her mother too, just differently. 2 families shattered over a dispute that had been going on for days, with adults around who could have stepped in at any point and chose not to. Like, that's the part that lingers. This didn't have to happen. It really didn't. There were multiple moments, where somebody could have slowed this down, could have said enough, could have taken somebody home, and nobody did. Carlton asked a question in one of his videos that deserves to be repeated here. He asked how we expect kids to know how to resolve conflict when the adults in their lives never show them how, when the grown people around them run toward a fight with a phone instead of running toward it with some sense. That question doesn't have a clean answer, but it's the right question. Asia was not perfect. Carlton himself said that. When she was wrong, she was wrong. But that night, that specific night, when she showed up out of love, tired from work, worried about her sister, trying to fix something instead of break it, and it cost her everything. The community held a balloon release in her memory. People who knew her, people who had only seen her silly videos online, people who just felt the weight of another young black mother gone. They all showed up. I said what I said. Asia Stewart deserved to go home that night. Her kids deserved their mama. And nobody in that parking lot, not one person, can say they did everything they could to make sure that happened. So here's where we leave you. Was this self-defense? Was this murder with no justification? Or is the real story the one Carlton keeps pointing back to the way communities lose people, not just in the moment of the shooting, but in all the moments before it when nobody does anything? Drop your thoughts in the comments. We want to hear where you stand on this one. And if this story hit you, share it, not for the numbers, but because Asia's kids are out there. And the least we can do is make sure people know her name. Rest easy, Asia Monet Stewart.